Child abuse and neglect. I want to inform on the issues of child abuse and neglect in the United States. Child abuse is way too common. We all need to do our part in order to stop child abuse. Did you know that over 300,000 children are abused each and every year in the United States alone? 12 out of every 1,000 children are a victim of child abuse. That, in my book, is 12 too many. The number of children that are abused each and every day is alarming. Child abuse is most common in large industrialized nations. Children that are victims of child abuse cannot always speak up for themselves. That is why and where we are to come in the picture and do our part to stop and put an end to child abuse. I want to increase the awareness of child abuse so that hopefully as more people become aware of the issues, that we can stand up and speak for these children that are victims of child abuse in order to stop it from happening in the future. Most victims of child abuse are abused by somebody in their own family, sadly enough. Most victims of child abuse are victimized by someone either in their immediate family, such as a parent, older sibling, uncle, aunt, cousin, or sometimes not even somebody that's directly related, just somebody that is close to their family, such as a friend of the family that is very close and that people wouldn't think of something like that happening. More than 60% of all child abuse victims are abused by someone within their own family. A large percentage of sexual abuse victims are abused by their parents' sexual partners. Children are twice as likely to become sexual abuse victims if they are in a single-parent home. Being in a stable two-parent home and environment greatly reduces the risk of child abuse. I don't think that people realize that having a stable home environment not only affects the children directly, but also affects what might happen to them. People don't realize how much that being in a stable environment affects their children. Girls are twice as likely, are more likely to become victims of sexual child abuse than boys. Even though girls are at a higher risk for becoming sexual abuse victims, that does not mean that boys are left out entirely. 1 in every 4 girls will be sexually abused, and 1 in every 6 boys will be sexually abused. Boys are less likely to speak up about being sexually abused, simply because it's not something that people probably think of as quite as common in boys, even though it actually is, as in girls. Boys have a tendency to be abused by someone outside of their family, as opposed to girls that are abused within the ranks of their own family. Boys are typically abused by family or friends within the family, or babysitters, or something along those lines, and that's why they usually have a tendency to speak out less about their sexual abuse. The older the child is, the greater risk they are for sexual child abuse. Children of any ages are not capable of consent to any kind of sexual contact because they do not understand the implications of what the sexual conduct implies. There's no child that is capable of giving consent. Child abuse victims are in a vicious cycle. Abusers usually at one time have been victims themselves of sexual child abuse. That is something that is very sad. That is something that can be changed. As more people become aware of the issues of child abuse and how common it is, the more we can change that, the more we can each do our own part to try and fix that. Abusers usually were once victims themselves of child abuse. They are from broken homes. They are from bad environments. They are not capable. Abusers usually have a high rate of not being capable, have a lack of self-control. They have a bad relationships. They don't know how to handle relationships. They have a high rate of abuse, substance abuse, and alcohol abuse. Child abuse victims face lifelong issues. Not only the psychological issues of being abused and how that affects them mentally, but sometimes, often, there are also physical issues that will be with these children for the rest of their lives and consequences they must face. Abuse is way too common. Child abuse is way too common in today's society. We live in a very advanced society, and something like this, something that is so demented and so sick, should not happen. We can each do our own part to stop child abuse by paying attention within our own family ranks, by making sure that that is not happening within our family, and by keeping our eyes open to the surroundings and environments around us. We can simply make a difference by noticing things that go on. By increasing awareness of child abuse, we can one day bring that number down from the 300,000 that it is each and every year, just in the United States alone, to 0. If everyone does their own part to stop child abuse and to decrease it, it can one day be 0, and that's where it should be.